7 years ago, in 2017, I made my first video on Samsung's upcoming Galaxy X, a phone that was rumored to revolutionize the entire smartphone industry by having a bendable display, one that would open up the world to so many possibilities. Fast forward 2 years later, and in 2019, Samsung announced the Galaxy Fold, introducing an exciting new form factor to the market. Here in our office, me and my team absolutely loved the Fold 1. It gained all of our curiosity and fascination like nothing else. Then, the Fold 2, which came a year after the Fold 1, was a complete reinvention, with major improvements to its display and its hinge, introducing the widely praised Flex Mode. We all loved the Fold 2 so much that both myself and 2 of my team members bought it as our main device, which combined with our review unit meant that we ended up with 4 of them in the office. Now, despite me daily driving all of Samsung's Galaxy Fold since, 4 years later, only one of us still uses a Galaxy Fold. And that's not me. I myself use the Honor Magic V2 instead. And that's because today, many of the other foldables are better than Samsung's, at least on the hardware level. So does the Fold 6 do enough to bring back all of that innovation that Samsung started with the first Galaxy Fold? Well, let's find out. Also, thanks to our sponsor, Spigen, for sending over this massive care package of their latest cases to protect Samsung's newest lineup. You can find out more later in the video. Okay, so to assess the Fold 6 correctly, let's take a look at what else is on the market right now. The short and wide Google Pixel Fold aims to be a major player, although it does fall short. Its shape is awkward, the hinge feels incredibly cheap, also it doesn't even unfold flat, and the inner screen bezels are just clumsy. On the other hand, the Honor Magic V2 is incredible. It's solid, it's so thin, and close to a slap phone in shape, reason why I picked it over the Fold 5, as it doesn't even feel like a foldable, but rather it feels just like a normal phone. There's also the OnePlus Open, which despite me not daily driving it, and only played with it for a bit, it does seem like the perfect blend of great foldable hardware and great foldable software, so this could be a superior option. And there are also some other great options from the Chinese manufacturers, like the new Xiaomi Mix Fold 4, the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro, and many others. Although, these are quite hard to get outside of China, so at least in the UK, US, and EU, the main players are still Samsung, Honor, Google, and OnePlus. For me, the Fold 6's design is a really good blend of a compact outer screen and a very capable inner screen. The cover screen is slightly wider than the Fold 5's, which did make typing and using apps much closer to that of a regular phone, although still not quite as good as on the Honor Magic V2 or the Pixel Fold. The inner display, however, is by far the best I've used on any foldable. Android works surprisingly well on a squared-up display, so a narrow outer display is arguably worth it for a better-shaped inner display. What I also think the Fold 6 does better than some of its competitors is its sturdiness in the hand. It is by far the most premium-feeling foldable that I've ever used. And since we now get a more squared-up body too, it feels grippier as well. This new silver shadow color looks really sharp, and it's also got a steel-like shine to it. The sides now have a matte finish, which gives the phone a very sleek and premium look. It also opens with less resistance, with the two halves meeting almost perfectly when folded, keeping more dust out when in your pocket. The Fold 6, although a bit thinner and lighter than the Fold 5, which does improve its feel, is still not quite as thin and light as the Chinese competitors, which, like I said, do actually feel like regular phones in your pocket, whereas the Fold 6 still feels chunky compared. There are some rumors suggesting that the Fold 7 could be extremely thin, but then a significant jump in just one generation to me seems very unlikely. So aside from the still narrow cover screen and the still thick body, my only other complaint design-wise is the camera bump wobble. So I'm not too keen on these new black rings, but hey, at least they're made out of metal. The thinner Fold 6 results in a thicker camera bump, which means that the table wobble is pretty significant this year. Okay, now let's talk about why people actually go for foldables in the first place, and that is the big internal display. And on the Fold 6, this is just glorious. It's colorful, it's sharp, and super bright. This year's brightness is especially high, although the difference from the Fold 5 is not quite as noticeable as the numbers on paper may seem. Still, both displays are perfectly usable outdoors. The crease is slightly improved and a bit easier to ignore compared to the Fold 5. So it's invisible when you're looking directly at it, plus your finger rarely goes over it. However, when you're using the S Pen, the usage will be affected as you will go over that crease. And of course, being the only foldable with that under the display camera, consuming content on this is by far the best experience that I've ever had on a foldable. Now, one area in which Samsung does have some significant advantages over the competition is when it comes to their software. This mostly applies to when you're using the inner display. For example, multitasking is by far the best I've seen on any foldable. You can use 3 apps at the same time and then have multiple hovering apps on top, all of which are super easy to just drag and drop from this app dock, which some of their competitors do lack. You can also take this a step further when you connect it to a monitor thanks to Samsung DeX. Samsung also has the best flex mode functionality by far, useful for camera controls or propping up the display when you're watching YouTube content. So you can have a large video playing back on the top screen while browsing the comments or other videos at the same time on the bottom. And this year, we also get Samsung's Galaxy AI features like we did with the Galaxy S24 line. Now, certain features I didn't really find that much use for, as plenty are tied to Samsung's first-party apps and I mostly use Google Apps. Although the new draw on image feature is quite amusing for turning memories into weird hallucinations. But media consumption is really where the Fold 6 shines. The screen, like I said, is bright and vibrant, and video playback is large without turning the device 90 degrees like we have to do with the Pixel Fold. And then viewing photos is also incredible on this thing. When you've been out and about for a day and you just want to look back at your photos, there's nothing better than just viewing them on the Galaxy Fold. 3 really good apps that utilize the Fold 6 inner display perfectly are Philips Hue with its split screen layout, AutoTrader for a denser grid when browsing, and YouTube Music, which shows you a ton of options at once. However, there are still many other apps that just don't embrace the Fold form factor, such as Slack, which is just a super wide version. Reddit doesn't really scale very well either, with images being huge, and then Instagram definitely lets you see images much larger, but its interface is just clumsy and with not a lot of spacing. Web browsing, however, is just excellent, as you get loads more room for even the desktop version of the websites. And shopping sites also have a really nice layout. Now, earlier in the video, I showed you guys this care package from our sponsor, Spigen, with a huge selection of cases for the Fold, the Flip, and more. Their 01 style returns on their Flip 6 Air skin design, which fits perfectly thanks to their official partnership with Samsung. If you're looking for something simpler, their Frost Grey Ultra Hybrid Pro design is super clean, while still offering some impressive protection, especially on the hinges. However, my favorite case is definitely the Air Skin Aramid for the Flip 6. The 0.9mm lightweight design and Kevlar durability is a must-have for these flagship devices. And you can get the same style for the Fold 6 too. Also, for the rugged user, their tough armor options are just crazy this year. We get a super durable hinge, increased drop protection, and a kickstand. The S Pen holder on the Tough Armor Pro P is super useful too. So if you're in the market for some truly brilliant cases, make sure to check out Spigen by using the links below. Okay, so what about its camera, or cameras? It's got a lot of them. Well, the Fold's camera systems have always drawn criticism. People expect a flagship experience at a flagship price. But the Fold 6's hardware lags behind the S24 Ultra quite significantly. How much is it lacking, you would ask? Well, let's take a look. In daytime, they both perform quite well. The Fold 6 is a bit more vibrant and sometimes dimmer, but HDR is overall excellent on both, with balanced sky and shadows. Now, sharp details do show a difference. For example, textures and patterns are sharper on the S24 Ultra when zoomed in, but it's very subtle and only noticeable if you literally pixel peep. In low light, the difference is minimal. The S24 Ultra has slightly better details, but once again, you do have to pixel peep here as well. Now, selfies do show quite a bit of a difference. The S24 Ultra is sharper with more depth, however, the Fold 6's wider angle could be more beneficial to you. Plus, when you're using the rear cameras for selfies, you're going to get a much better image compared to the S24 Ultra's front camera. And despite the Fold 6 having the same camera hardware as the 5, the ultra-wide sensor is new for allegedly better low light performance, plus you also get 4K 60 video now. The difference from the Fold 5 is hard to tell in daytime shots, and yeah, also missing in low light, as you can see here. So newer or not, maybe a better sensor would have been ideal here. Against the S24 Ultra's larger ultra-wide sensor, they are nearly identical, with the Fold 6 being slightly more vibrant once again. As you'd expect for zoom, the S24 Ultra's 5x module is better. At 3x zoom, both are quite similar, but at 10x, the S24 Ultra predictably outperforms the Fold 6. Video quality is great on both, with detailed colorful footage and solid stabilization on both. And you might think, oh, but the Pixel Fold has a 5x telephoto module. Well, here's both side by side, and yeah, the Fold 6 actually outperforms the Pixel Fold with clearer details. Now, if we zoom into 10x, yes, that's where the Pixel Fold will be slightly better, but neither of them are great here. For me, the Fold 6 has by far the best camera hardware on any foldable on the market, and this was also true to the Fold 5, to be honest. Also, the battery life is pretty good, so it lasts for about a day with 20% left, so not quite as good as the S24 Ultra or the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but I wouldn't really say that it's a concern even on a busy day. Now, thanks to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip and the larger vapor chamber, performance on this thing is really good. Although it does kind of get hot, like the Fold 5 did. No, not quite as hot, but still quite hot, which could be just a limitation of this foldable form factor. What I am quite disappointed to see is still that 25-watt fast charging, which is just so far behind when it comes to all the other competitors. However, the Fold 6 does include wireless charging, which many of its competitors do lack. So yeah, you'll have to pick whichever you want here. Speaking of picking, if you want to pick this wallpaper that you've seen on our Fold 6 throughout our video, you can, as it's from our latest wallpaper spec, Northern Nights, by our designer Splashy. It comes with 10 stunning designs of Aurora Borealis scenes that simply look gorgeous on that Z Fold 6's massive internal display. And we now have close to 1,000 wallpapers in our app, all in 1x1 8K, so they are literally the highest resolution wallpapers in any app, which means that you can crop in and zoom like crazy, as well as use them on a variety of different devices, from your phone, your tablet, as well as on your desktop. And you can find our app Wallpapers by using the link below or by searching for Wallpapers in the Play Store and the App Store. Okay, so in conclusion, I do really love the Fold 6. From its feel, to its cameras, to its super bright screen, and especially its software, it's just great. Plus, its slightly wider cover screen and thinner body do make it feel closer to a regular phone. But Samsung is still far behind when it comes to their competition in terms of their cover screen aspect ratio and the overall thickness of the phone, and the weight. However, if you're coming from an older Fold, like let's say the Fold 2, 3, or 4, then you're going to get some really nice upgrades here, such as a noticeably thinner and lighter body, plus upgraded cameras compared to the Fold 4. Its price is still a huge issue. Despite the very minor improvements that we got this year, Samsung increased its price to $17.99 in the UK from $17.50, which is more than any other foldables on the market right now. Now, Samsung does offer discounts and free gifts and for trade-ins, but the price is always too high. So the best discount code is time. No, really, it is time. So if you wait, you can actually buy a Fold 5, for example, or even the 6 if you wait a few more months, for some really, really good prices. Harry from my team, for example, recently paid £825 for a 512GB Fold 5. And even the Fold 5 offers almost the same experience, just with, slightly less refinement. So if you want to get the Fold 6, maybe wait a few months or get the Fold 5 now, as both are some really good options. But yeah, what do you guys think of the Fold 6? Are you gonna wait a few months, or are you actually thinking of buying one right now? And also don't forget about the fact that the Pixel 9 Pro Fold and the new OnePlus Open are also coming very soon. So the foldable market is definitely going to be getting heated up once again. I'm Daniel, doing ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.